Hey everyone, today I'm in Eric, Oklahoma, and we're on the historic Route 66, and we are at the Roger Miller Museum. This is the last day that this museum is actually going to be open, so we're going to go inside and look around at some of the items and artifacts that were a part of his life and his legacy. This is right on the corner of Sheb Wooley and Roger Miller, right on Route 66. You can see Sheb Wooley, he was also a country music singer. You can see the songs that they were famous for doing. It's right here on this corner. We're gonna go inside, take a peek. Here we have a wall of records that are here. You can see all kinds of records, different covers, things like that. One of the things that you may not realize, we didn't realize it till we were on our way and researching it, but he was also the narrator of this movie, also played the part of this rooster right there. So many of his songs are also in that particular movie. Just a big old wall of all of these records. So one of the things that Roger was involved in was Big River. It was a Broadway play, and he wrote the musical score for it, and he performed for 3 months as Pap. Here you can see a picture of Roger Miller with his wife, Mary, and Willie Nelson. They actually came to see him perform as Pap in the play. And some various things in here like tickets from the play, some of the programs, and of course one of the awards that he won. So this museum has been here since 2004, and many of the items that are here are on loan from Mary Miller, the widow of Roger. So she has already been in here actually removing some of these items. Like I said, today is the last day that the museum will be open. So they've actually came in, I think it was a company they were saying, and they've labeled these things so that they can know what to move. So after Christmas of this year, 2017, they will be removing these items and they're going to Nashville. Not exactly sure where yet. But you can see here, this is the childhood home of Roger. It's just kind of outside of town of Eric, Oklahoma. Here's a young Roger right there. Kind of a bad reflection there, but this is Roger with his sister, but it's actually his cousin. When he was young, his father died and he came to live with family in Eric, Oklahoma. This is actually Roger's mother and father. This portrait right here hung in the lobby of the hotel, which was one of his hotels that was in Nashville. It was supposed to be a chain, but there was only one. It says down here, it was the King of the Road Motor Inn. And when he came to town, there was actually a flag that flew on the top of it to let his friends know that he was in town. And all the parties would happen there. This particular song right here was the very first song that Roger ever wrote, and he was 10 years old when this was written. Roger got his start in country music by being a fiddle player. Back in high school, played the cornet. The sign that you see here was in the middle of the road in the intersection between these two streets. And they moved it inside this museum because it was constantly being hit by trucks that were passing by. In 1964, Roger Miller won 5 Grammy Awards for his music. And in 1965, he won 6 more. Here you can see where he took out an ad saying thank you for his Grammys. This case is displaying a lot of awards that he won. 1964 and 65 was a big year for him in all his many awards. You can see a couple of his ACMs here. Back then they were called the Academy of Country and Western Music Awards. And they're just kind of a cowboy hat with a microphone and part of a guitar and a record there. But he's got things there from Billboard. And right there is the Teen Screen Award for the favorite male recording artist. Bunch of awards. This is actually the first sign that Eric, Oklahoma created as you enter town. In this case, you can see various writings that he had where he just kind of scribbled it down. And he was known to scribble it on various pieces of paper. Could be any kind. And even some of his hits happen on a credit card application. Constantly writing and coming up with something new. One of the first things that Roger purchased was this motorcycle right here after his hit song Dang Me. And as the story goes from this sign right here, he was approached by a long black limousine, and the driver rolled down the window and asked Roger if he would pull over because Elvis Presley would like to meet him. So Roger pulled over, and Elvis Presley actually asked for his autograph. Here are some of the gold records that Roger had for reaching $1 million in sales. Roger was involved in many things. Here you'll notice that he sang the title song to the ballad of Waterhole No. 3, which starred James Coburn. Roger was well known among many stars. Here's Bill Cosby, Neil Diamond, Bob Hope. This is the manager for Elvis, the Colonel. On the stage there is John Denver and Glenn Campbell. Here you have the Gatlinburgers, Lee Greenwood and Chris Christopherson and Harlan Howard. Don Meredith. Dean Martin there. Johnny Cash. Roy Clark and Ray Price. Here you have a young Tanya Tucker. See a bearded Glenn Campbell and Doug Kershaw. It's a young Loretta Lynn. Buck Owens. Bobby Bear. Johnny Paycheck, Carl Perkins, Farron Young, Little Jimmy Dickens. Here's a copy of the first publishing check after the release of Dang Me, $160,484.12. Here's a picture of Roger when he was in the service. And after he left the service, he took off for Nashville in his '55 Ford to chase his dreams. This is a picture of Roger playing in the Army band. He's over on the far right playing fiddle. Roger also had his own show at one time. In 1987, he was awarded this Pioneer Award by the Academy of Country Music. On the upper left, you can see Shep Woolley, and then there's a young Roger Miller right below in this family picture.
So, here's Roger. Fresh out of the Army, he doesn't...
At the Andrew Jackson.
A continuous
hotel.
rawhide features
Bell
and
Hall. He said, yeah, I want the job. He said, I'll go over to the hotel and give my 2-minute notice.
Here's something you don't see too much. Willie Nelson without the long hair and the beard.
yeah. That,
You can see the street sign where it says Sheb Woolley there. And then right across here, it actually says Roger Miller. Roger Miller Boulevard. Thank you for joining me on this little tour of the Roger Miller Museum in Eric, Oklahoma. Hope you enjoyed it. Just kind of wanted to document it before it closed forever.